Welcome to the Daily Show. I'm Jordan, and we have a lot to get into tonight. Applause. Let's talk about the latest from the Trump administration. Mass deportations, Biden's pardons possibly needing a pardon of their own, and Louis Black yelling about airline safety like an overserved Southwest passenger. So, let's dive right in. One of Donald Trump's major campaign promises for his second term was the deportation of violent criminals, and he consistently singled out one specific gang, Troy Aada. Trump, we're removing this savage gang. Troy Aada, Troy Aada, Troy Aada. Somewhere, the gang members were probably wondering, wait, is he talking about us? Trump's pronunciation of the gang's name sounds like someone's grandfather trying to order at Chipotle. I'll take the barbacoa, and buenos nachos. Over the weekend, Trump proudly announced he had deported hundreds of suspected Venezuelan gang members to El Salvador. So, close enough. And, of course, these individuals were given a full legal process, including a fair trial and due process. Just kidding. He pulled a classic Trump move. The administration invoked an old, rarely used law, the Alien Enemies Act of 1798, which allows the government to deport people with minimal legal oversight. The last time it was used to detain Japanese Americans during World War II. Why does Trump always dig up the most outdated and racist laws? What's next? I'm cutting taxes under the It's Okay to Drown Italians Act of 1863. There's a major issue with using this law. If there's no due process, how do we know we're actually deporting gang members? We might just be deporting people based on assumptions. If we start removing every shady-looking guy with questionable tattoos, who's going to attend Jets games? But don't worry, Trump definitely has the cultural awareness to properly identify gang members. What's that gang's name again? Troy Aada. Another problem. This law is meant for wartime use. Since we're not at war with Venezuela, Trump had to pretend we were. Imagine explaining that to the Secretary of Defense on St. Patrick's Day. Now, the legal system stepped in. On Saturday, a federal judge ordered an immediate halt to these deportations, stating that any planes already airborne had to turn around and return to the US. Seems straightforward, right? Well, Trump decided to ignore the ruling and keep the deportations going anyway. 7 weeks into his presidency, and he's already triggering a constitutional crisis. Honestly, I expected it sooner. Of course, the administration had to justify ignoring a judge's ruling. Their excuse? The White House argued that the judge's written order came after the planes were in the air, and his verbal ruling from 40 minutes earlier didn't count. Because apparently, in Trump's world, legal decisions don't matter unless they're written in fancy calligraphy. And when that excuse didn't work, they went for the force field argument. The administration claimed the court had no jurisdiction once the planes were over international waters. Oh, so that's why Carnival Cruise Lines just launched the SS Cruel and Unusual Punishment. Meanwhile, Trump took to Truth Social to slam the judge, calling him a radical left lunatic and demanding his impeachment. So Trump's logic went from, oops, we didn't hear the ruling in time, to, actually, this judge should be fired in under 48 hours. Honestly, again, longer than I expected. If you thought that was the only constitutional crisis brewing, think again. Last night, Trump declared that Biden's presidential pardons were void, because they were signed with an autopen. Yes, Trump just found out about autopens, and now we all have to talk about them. Presidents have used autopens for centuries. In fact, Thomas Jefferson used one, which makes sense. The man had a lot of kids' birthday cards to sign. But Trump, always the conspiracy theorist, insists that some radical left lunatic secretly signed Biden's pardons without his knowledge. Because, obviously, some deep state operative just waltzed into the Oval Office, signing random documents like yearbooks and doctor's notes. And, of course, Trump tried to claim he never used an autopen, only to immediately remember that he totally did. Trump, I never used it. Well, I mean, maybe for letters to kids. You know, the unimportant stuff. So Trump basically admitted he didn't personally sign any of his get well letters to sick children. And that brings us to our correspondent, Troy Aada, who joins us live from a children's hospital. Troy, Jordan, I'm here at the hospital, where kids were devastated to learn that Trump used an autopen on their letters. Their hearts were broken, and they died. Jordan, wait, what? All of them? Troy, not all of them. One was hanging on, but, oh, there he goes. Jordan, are we sure it wasn't their existing medical conditions? Troy, no. Some just had scrapes or tummy aches. But once they learned about the autopen, their little hearts just stopped working. Except for the one kid whose life support cord I accidentally tripped over. My bad. Jordan, Troy. I don't get it. Trump has been cruel to sick kids before. He's cut cancer research and threatened their health insurance. Why do they love him so much? Troy, Jordan, I don't know. Maybe some of them were racist. Jordan, Troy, you can't say that. Troy, you're right. But hey, look on the bright side. No more booger fingers, no more department store tantrums, no more screaming on airplanes. Jordan, Troy, you're being incredibly callous. Troy, sorry, you're right. It's tragic, but hey, President Trump sent letters of condolence to their families. Jordan, well, that's something. Troy, wait. Oh no, the letters were autopen signed. Everyone's dead. Tragic stuff, folks. More after the break.